Friends, so I'm going to show you the card that I've been making for my friends and family this year. I'm using a classic stamp set, lovely as a tree, and this is the image from that set that I'm going to be using. I have a piece of Whisper white cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 3 3/4. I also have some post-it notes. I'm going to peel one of them off, and I'm going to put this on a piece of scrap computer paper because I want to punch out this post-it note using my 1-inch circle punch, and the punches work better when there's a piece of paper behind a post-it note, just because it's a bit flimsy and I want to make sure it punches through. I should also mention that when I'm punching out my circle, I want to make sure I get some of that sticky, tacky backing, so I'm positioning my punch up near the top. Punch that out, and I'm going to set that aside for a second. Next, I have some post-it note tape, and I'm going to rip that off, and I'm going to tear it down the center, and I'm going to put it on one side and then the other, and I'm going to do the same thing on the top and the bottom. The great thing about this post-it tape too is this is reusable, so I can get quite a few cards out of this. You could also use regular post-it notes as long as they're long enough. Alright, so now that circle we punched out, I'm going to take that and position it right about there. Taking the rich raspberry ink and one of my sponges, ink that up really well, and I'm going to sponge the entire piece of Whisper white cardstock. Make it a little bit darker in the center. I'm going to sponge again, this time using Elegant Eggplant. And I'm just going to go along the top and the two sides. I want to keep this rich raspberry showing through down near the bottom. And I just go in little circles with my sponge. I cut my sponges in quarters and then I just kind of fold them up. So I've got a round tip on the bottom. You can use sponge daubers if you have them. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now for the magic. I'm going to peel off the tape. And get that really nice border. And then peel off the post-it note, you have your moon. So I know when I first mounted this stamp years ago, I put the stamp on a little bit crooked. So when I use this particular one, I like to use my Stamp-A-Majig to make sure I'm stamping it straight. So I'm going to ink it up with my black StazOn. And I'm just lining up the plastic piece into the corner of the handle. Stamp it down. I'm going to grab my picture here, and I'm just going to position my tree where I want it. Reposition the handle. I've inked up my stamp again, pushing it down with the stamp in the corner of the handle. And there we have it. So now that I have my tree stamped, I'm going to put a sentiment right over here, and I'm using Merry Christmas, which is from the Petite Pair stamp set. Once again, I'm going to use my Stamp-A-Majig. And now I can position my Merry Christmas exactly where I want it. Ink it up again with my black StazOn. And now this is a fun technique that I recently was shown. I'm just taking my aqua painter and I'm putting a little bit of water into a paint tray. I'm taking my multi-purpose liquid glue. I'm going to squeeze a little bit into that water. And take my aqua painter and just mix it all in together. So you just want your glue to be a little bit watery. And then I'm going to pull this over, and I'm just going to lightly splatter on some of that glue. So once you have your glue where you want it, you can add Dazzling Diamond Glitter or Silver Glitter, which is what I'm using. And just sprinkle that right on top of the glue. Tap off the excess. And it's absolutely gorgeous. And that glue that's showing through, it'll dry clear. So then you're just going to set this aside to dry. So because I have to make quite a few Christmas cards, I will be making all of these first, and then I will go ahead and put them all on the card bases. It just makes mass producing a whole lot quicker. So the card base is Elegant Eggplant, and I am using my Bake Background stamp. Love this stamp. It's so much fun to use. And I am just going to ink this up with my Elegant Eggplant ink. So it's going to be tone on tone. So now I'm just putting my card base right on top of that. And when I'm using my background stamps, I like to have the stamp down, the card on top of it, and then put a piece of just computer paper on top, and I just rub all over, and I find I get a really good even image when I do it that way. There's my background. Now you can also use the wood grain embossing folder and run this through your Big Shot and get that textured impression if you want that. That looks really good too, and I've done some cards that way. But because I do need to make so many cards, I find it's a lot quicker to just stamp the background, and it looks really, really great. And to finish the card, I simply put Stampin' Dimensionals behind my image here, and there it is, all done and pretty. And I must say, I do like the non-traditional color just for a change of pace. The blue ones that I've made are probably my favorite though. I do love the blue ones. But to be perfectly honest, I have a lot more of the Elegant Eggplant in my cardstock stash at the moment. So I want to use some of that up. And then I'll do some cards in the blue. But the majority of them are going to be this color this year. And I think it's equally super pretty and very elegant. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and happy stamping.